evening and welcome to my review of Fulham's 3-2 win over Southampton for Fulhamish. You may be thinking, where's the fan cam? We did one. Unfortunately, the person who filmed, Dylan, his phone got stolen on Saturday night. Hopefully we can retrieve the footage. If not, you'll just have to stick with the review and the coming podcast to come. Of course, there's still full time, which was by Jack, Dom and Ben at the Old Suffolk Punch post-match. Anyway, we're here to talk about the game and my perspective of it. All in all, in terms of the lineup, we didn't know where we were going to go with a 4-2-3-1, didn't know where we were going to go with a 4-4-2. In the end, we thought maybe Vieta would play up front with Mitrovic in the kind of like a Joe Vardy kind of way that Leicester managed to line up. But I think Ranieri, we're understanding that we can't make comparisons between that Leicester team and the Fulham team. I mean, you can make small comparisons, but in terms of the way that they played, it will be very different to the way we played. I think we'll still try and keep that possession-based football that we played under Jokanovic. I just think it'll be more defensively minded at the same time. We need some defensive stability. That's pretty obvious. I think we improved defensively against Southampton. Let's dive into the game. So, obviously it was a bit of a bad start. Fantastic double save, of course, from Rico. Gabbiadini really should have just put that across goal and into the back of the net, but he failed to do so. And it was actually very well read by Rico, who spread his body about. And obviously the first shot came in from Armstrong, and it was a decent effort. And it was well saved by Rico, and then of course Gabbiadini coming across. Yeah, he should have scored. That should have been 1-0 to Southampton. Then they did take the lead. This is a case of, it reminds me a little bit of the goal that we conceded away, away at Preston when the quick throw was taken. Preston weren't switched on and we scored that winning goal with Mitrovic. Christie, the camera's on him. If you watch Match of the Day back or watch any of the highlights back, the camera's on Christie and the ball goes over the top. He's not paying attention and the ball gets whipped in, back across, forced at Armstrong, and I think it took a little deflection off one of our players, I think maybe Dennis Adoy, and goes into the back of the net, 1-0 down, and there you're thinking, uh-oh, we're in trouble. 5 points at the bottom of the league. I thought, well, my whole world came crashing down when we went 1-0 down, to be fair. I just thought, well, that is probably that. I don't know why, I was very pessimistic at the time, but there was some signs of life. I mean, we started not bad, there was some good movement in that midfield, and going forward, we did look very good throughout the whole game, to be fair. And let's go on to the equaliser. I think in the build-up it took about 10 seconds for Maxime Le Marchand to run from left back or wherever he was located inside our half and then get onto that ball. And he did really well to loft it back in. And Mitrovic, who's unmarked, nods it across. It's not too much power he's got on the header, but it's just enough to beat Alex McCarthy, and a fantastic header. 1-1. And of course, that means we're completely back in the game. Fantastic stuff from Fulham. And then we kind of took the ascendancy from there. We kind of got the momentum. Southampton probably were on top in that first half. It was very much against the run of play when we got the equaliser. But this is fantastic. The ball comes forward from Alfie Mawson and it's taken down brilliantly by Ryan Sessegnon. He beats his man. Fantastic. I think it's Cedric who he really does do there. Puts the ball across. It's a brilliant ball, and as soon as that ball goes across, you know we're going to score, basically. I knew we were going to score just the way Schürrle was coming onto it. Didn't realise how close the defender actually was to Andre Schürrle when he put it away. 2-1 to Fulham, incredible. And we go into half-time with a 2-1 lead, slightly undeserved, but we'll take it. And Southampton aren't a bad team. The player who was one of the standouts for Southampton was Nathan Redmond. Every time he got the ball, he drove to the byline, gave us some real issues defensively. But half-time, 2-1, brilliant, good spirits at the cottage, everyone's a bit buzzing. It was a packed cottage, and I really like the way they've now kind of changed the Putney end. There's a disabled section that goes across halfway through, and it looks really good. It almost looks like we've got two tiers going on in the Putney end there. It kind of separates some of the fans, and it looked really quite clean on camera, and I feel as though this season, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but we don't have the neutral anymore. There's been no games, apart from maybe Arsenal, where I've really seen a mix of fans. And I think that's just because Arsenal bring more London Derby, etc. But you can really see now, like Derby, where it was very apparent, you can see that the Derby in the playoffs, of course, the difference between home and away fans, basically. Moving on to the second half, this is what we're going to expect now from Fulham. More defensive, So every time we're in the lead or in the ascendancy in terms of the result, we're going to be under pressure. And it doesn't matter if we're against Manchester United or Southampton. It's going to be like that. Southampton, you just felt as though they would dominate the ball recycling the ball every time it went away. They would get back on it. We actually had that one brilliant breakaway, and to be fair, Mitrovic probably should have made it 3-1. It's a fantastic save from McCarthy. And Sessegnon, maybe last season, he might have gone onto that ball, but if he'd have carried on his run, he actually stopped it in the box. If he'd carried on his run, he would have been offside. It wouldn't have counted anyway. But no, it's a promising start. But a fantastic goal from Armstrong. You've got to give it to them. Sometimes you just got to sit back. Maybe we could have got out quicker to him, Dennis Adoy. There were some chances to clear the lines, but in the end, it was a really good finish from Stuart Armstrong. 2-2 right in the corner. It was really quite powerful shot as well. Rico couldn't do much about it, and 2-2 you're a bit deflated, but the balance of play, they kind of deserved it, as much as you don't want to say it. Fulham were on par, if not second best against Southampton up until the 2-2, and you didn't really know where the game was going to go from that. I thought it was just going to end a 2-2 draw, and I was thinking, do I take a point in this? Just as Ranieri's first game, do I take a point? Not really, we're still cut adrift, and this is a massive point to make. Huddersfield winning yesterday proves, which is obviously annoying and quite disappointing. We're back to the bottom of the league, but I think it's not a negative thing that we're bottom of the league. It's very tight down there. Obviously, Burnley, Newcastle's a huge game tonight. Anyway, Huddersfield winning was just proves how massive. Someone put it on Twitter this morning. I think it was Michael Cox. He said how important our win looks, because imagine if we hadn't have got all 3 points and Huddersfield did, and all the results went the other way, and say it finished 2-2 at the Cottage, we would have been cut adrift from that bottom by 2, 3 or 4 points, and it really would have been a real problem for us going into that Chelsea game. And let's talk about the winning goal, because brilliant! What a fantastic goal it was. It was a brilliant finish. I thought it was going wide. I thought it just sliced it wide. I just saw it crashing the net. Hannes went nuts. It was fantastic. Where does it come from? It comes from their centre back. I think it's Wesley Hoot. He's trying to hold it. Obviously, Alan Shearer's. I've seen the analysis, and Alan Shearer's right. He should get the ball clear. It's good pressure though from Tom Kearney. Who was it? Schürrle or Kearney? Can't quite remember. Doesn't matter. It's just pressurising him, forces him into a mistake. I think it was Schürrle, because then it fell to Kenny. I think, yes. And then he gives it to Christie, and Christie kind of dilly-dallies with it. I'm just like, get in the box. And as Shearer said, in everyone's attracted to the ball, which creates a space when Sessegnon flicks it on, creates a space for Mitrovic. I mean, you might expect Mitrovic to take that down and have a go, but he hits it first time, and the way he gets his leg up is incredible. Like, you got to say, it's fantastic, and the ball goes into the bottom corner of the net. You can tell I'm pretty happy. Obviously, everyone's happy, but you've seen my previous reviews against Huddersfield, and I was pretty down in the dumps. But we've won a game, so that's fantastic. Mitrovic's goal, and 25 minutes to go. It's a long time to hold out. Someone compared it to the playoff final. I actually said it in the stands to my brother. I said, this feels like the playoff final, not because obviously, if we win, we'd go up or anything. No. It's down to the importance of the 3 points and the amount of time we had to, to see out the game and stuff. It was kind of similar to that. It was, and Rico. This is where Rico really came into things. Obafemi with the shot, saved by the keeper. Rico really did well to get out. There was also another shot that came in, and Rico kind of flapped up in the air, but it wasn't the greatest of shots. It wasn't the greatest of saves, but still very important. I thought the game might end 3-3, just the way Southampton were pressing. But we were good value for the win. I felt as though we just about deserved it. Maybe, first half we weren't great, second half defensively we were quite good. Standout players for me, Sergio Rico, Tom Kearney did very, very well. Mitrovic's hold of play was impeccable. He's just fantastic, isn't he? What a huge signing he's been. I know he hasn't scored since Watford or previous to the game, but he played brilliantly for Fulham. Who else? I think Callum Chambers did okay in that midfield. He was a little bit wobbly, a little bit shaky, sometimes rushed the ball away too many times, but it's a new position for him. He will adapt. Seri, I thought, was ineffective. I asked George Singer at the fan cams after the game, hopefully we still get the fan cams, about Seri, and he said he didn't really affect the game as much as you would have thought. And that's the thing with Seri. Maybe it's just because Seri and Kenny are playing on the pitch at the same time, which sometimes you can't do, but Kenny's playing much further forward, just in that hole behind Mitrovic. I've been rambling for a while, but Right, let's sum it up. Chelsea, next. Huge well, people are going to say, oh, it's not a derby, it's not a derby. It's a West London derby. There's no two ways about it. They don't care for us, we don't really care for them. I dislike them, but I don't... It doesn't really matter in the end. It's Chelsea away, 12 o'clock. I'm doing a nice preview, I think tomorrow with 100% Chelsea with Louis and Lewis. That'll be fun. So yeah, check that out. That should be soon. I hope you all enjoyed the game. It was fantastic. We've got the 3 points. We're now, well, we're still 20th, but you know, we're basically 3 points away from elevating ourselves outside the relegation zone. Big game tonight between Burnley and Newcastle, of course. Probably want that to end in a draw. And that's probably that. In terms of Ranieri, great start, great motivator, and once he gets a full week of training for the Chelsea game, maybe we might see a surprise at the Bridge. They did lose in poor fashion to Tottenham. They've got a kind of a dead rubber on Thursday in the Europa League. They're basically already through. They might play the youngsters, Callum Hudson-Odoi, Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I'm expecting us to lose on Sunday just because it is Chelsea. They do have that quality. But let's go there and give it a fight. Thanks very much for watching. This has been Fulhamish, this has been the review. I'm Jack Kelly, and good night, and we'll see you at Stamford Bridge. Come on, Fulham.
Come on, Fulham.